They met in a season that taught the city how to ache. Mara worked mornings in a small bookshop that smelled of dust and rain. Elias passed every day at noon, never buying anything, always pausing as if the window held a secret meant only for him. One afternoon, a storm pressed its face to the glass, and he stepped inside, shaking water from his hair like a confession he'd been holding too long. "I'm not a reader," he said apologetically.
I'm sorry, but I'm not really a reader.
Books are patient. He smiled then, a careful, tentative smile, and bought a thin volume of poems he didn't understand. He came back the next day to tell her which lines had confused him most. The day after that, he brought coffee. Slowly, the hours learned to lean toward each other. Their love grew quietly, the way roots do, unseen, necessary. They walked the river at dusk, counting lights. They shared silences without fear. Elias had a laugh that arrived before he did, and Mara learned how to wait for it. She thought love would feel like certainty. Instead, it felt like recognition. But sorrow is also patient. Elias carried it in the careful way he held doors, in the way his eyes searched rooms as if measuring exits. He told her eventually about his mother's illness, about how every promise he made felt like tempting fate. "I don't trust happiness," he said one night, voice thin as glass. "It leaves." Mara loved him anyway, which is to say, she stayed. When the call came, it came like a winter bird striking a window. His mother was gone. Elias folded inward. He stopped coming to the bookshop. Days passed like unreturned letters. Mara walked the river alone, counting lights that no longer answered back. When he finally returned, he was a shadow of himself. "I can't be what you need," he said, eyes fixed on the floor. "Everything I love, I lose." Mara wanted to argue, to swear that love was not a debt to be collected by grief. But sorrow had already moved into his voice, and she knew it would not be evicted by reason. She let him go with the quiet dignity that comes from understanding pain you cannot fix. The city learned a new ache. Years passed. The bookshop closed. Mara moved, learned other rhythms, loved in smaller, braver ways. Yet sometimes, in the pause before sleep, she thought of Elias, not with longing, but with a soft gratitude, like remembering a song that taught you how to listen. One spring morning, she received a letter. Real paper. Familiar handwriting. He wrote of therapy and time, of how grief had not ended but changed shape. He wrote of learning that loving was not an invitation to loss, but a courage practiced daily. At the end, a simple question. "Would you walk the river with me again?" They met where they used to count lights. Elias looked older, steadier, as if he had learned to stand in weather. He apologized, not with desperation, but with honesty. Mara forgave, not because time demanded it, but because her heart had room. They did not rush. Happiness, they knew now, was not a finish line. It was a habit. That evening, the city glowed. They walked slowly, counting lights, not to prove anything, but because they wanted to. And when Elias laughed, it arrived not before him, but with him, whole and unafraid. Sorrow did not disappear. It simply learned how to share the road.